I love to be first. I love to come up with the big strategy that could be something that is different and kind of shakes the industry and go, that seems cool.
Hey, you all. Welcome back to The Necessary Entrepreneur. Today, we've got Derek Gwaltney. He's the founder and CEO of Atlas Experiences. What a name. It's going to be a great conversation. Atlas Experiences is this company that's all about creating those unforgettable, once-in-a-lifetime moments. Derek started out in the lottery and gaming world, and now he's turned that experience into building some of the most unique brand experiences out there that we've seen. From destination events to full-blown game show promotions, Atlas has become known for bringing energy, creativity, and emotion to everything they do. Derek, it's awesome to meet you, man, and have you here. So welcome to The Necessary Entrepreneur.
Pleasure to be here. Excited to talk about the journey and dive into it a little bit.
Well, let's talk about the journey. With that type of intro, we're like, this guy's awesome and special. So tell us how awesome and special the journey and what you guys are building. Because you said you just came back from the Inc. 5000. You got the 33rd spot. You didn't know what that was, and now you learned. So this journey from 2019, a little bit of a bump. We know what happened in 20, but then the trajectory has spiked up. So tell us about what the heck's going on and what you guys are doing.
No, definitely. Again, it's a pleasure to be here. Thinking about where we started and what the vision was, and I wanted to create memorable moments for lottery winners. That's kind of where it started, right? Experiences has that emotional connection. When you take people out of their day-to-day lives and you put them somewhere unique, different, 5-star, that's when the memories and that connection starts, right? But I wanted to up it. I wanted to take that up to one next level because you're a lottery winner. You want to win. And so we added our game show into these promotions where we are giving away millions of dollars around the world during our experiences. We're having this great experience. Then you're like, hey, I'm in this awesome castle, but on the last night, I have a shot to win $1 million and change someone's life. So it's been a great journey. What we've seen and been able to do and continue to do has been remarkable. As a small company, I started the company myself, bootstrapped the company, and just rolled up my sleeves and just went at it, had a vision of what I wanted to do, and just kept grinding and kept moving forward and never stopped.
So coming from the lottery business, you're the first on the podcast and probably the first person I've ever had a conversation with that came from the lottery business. So I'm assuming we all know what buying a lottery ticket is. We don't know the business. And so where did this idea come from? It came from you working in the business, but how did this evolve that this came to your mind to do this?
So I've been in the lottery space for 30 years and, worked with a company that we were creating some experiential programs for big brands like Powerball, and created these experiences and these trips where there were these winning moments. And I just love being immersed with it because when you can create something and then actually see the fruit of your labor actually unveiled in front of you and then create winning moments, we were giving away $4,000 every hour on a cruise ship. And every hour that became a moment. And those moments I love to do, and I wanted to do more with it. But I love to travel. I think being able to take people out of their day-to-day lives and giving them something that they can experience, forget the day-to-day they left behind, see what's in front of them and experience that moment. That's what I wanted to continue to build on. But in lotteries, well, everyone, there's more, people that don't have the luck of winning. But having that chance a second chance to enter that in, there's a mechanism in a lot of the lotteries around the world actually, where you have a losing ticket and you can enter that in for another chance to win. But to win an experience and to win cash prizes during that experience is where we really started to leverage and build on.
What inside of you're the person that knows your journey, right? We don't have 6 hours to talk about the Derek journey because I bet it's a hell of a life journey. But what inside of you had the feeling of wanting to be involved in these special things? Like, what is it? What's the driver of that?
It's the ability to create. I love to create something and build something that people can react to. You know, when you have something that people like and people want to engage with you, they want to buy your products, right? Creating these programs, we kind of build them up. We make them unique. We create the themes, we create the promotional packages. We are truly turnkey, but we know how that creation can come to life. And then bringing that to the lottery organizations where they can actually bring it to their consumers and get them excited about what that brand is. Again, that brand loyalty, right? You're doing something that I'm interested in. You have a product out there, and I'm buying this ticket. But guess what? I still have a chance to win. That's really what it's about.
Do you guys run these on your own, or do you work with all the existing lottery organizations?
Correct. All the lottery organizations. So the lotteries will find the promotional package and how they put it into their plan per year. We've done stuff in Ireland, Sedona. We've done stuff in Martha's Vineyard, Nashville. We had a huge program with Luke Combs, which was awesome. Luke and I gave away $500,000 on stage at the Ryman at a private show. So they take those promotional packages and see what interests them, what they think will motivate their consumers to have more engagement with their products. That's kind of what we create.
Is there anybody else in your space? Like in your mind, do you have people that are trying to do the same thing?
There are a few. There are a few.
Okay.
I would say, we're very focused on the specific on experiences. We're not into the larger gaming companies. We're not trying to do technology or hardware or software. We're really focused on that promotional element, the experiential piece. And then our game show, we've done dozens of these now. I've given away almost $6 million in cash prizes in a fully produced live game show during our events.
Mm. So is that the next question was going to be through the conversation, then what makes you guys different? Right.
I
So
say
when you're
our game
yeah.
show definitely is a unique contributor to that. That was part of the vision when I wanted to start the company is how can I take those winning moments, those moments that are impactful and meaningful, changing someone's life with $1 million prize. There's nothing like it. I mean, I've done it twice so far, and there's been a series of other big prizes like $500,000 prizes with Martina McBride and Luke Combs. And those moments, I just immerse myself. I love seeing the people, their reaction, their engagement. Those are the things that really matter.
Hmm. What do you think when Derek retires? What's the journey from here to there going to look like professionally before that happens?
Well, we're going to continue to evolve. We've taken our game show, and we know it's crazy how you've started to productize, and you start with experiences, then you add the game show. We now have just launched into live sports game shows. So I did a live game show with the Milwaukee Bucks in front of 17,000. And it was the coolest thing. You have three people that have a chance to play. They're excited. Who doesn't want to play a game show? Who doesn't want to have a chance to make your own decision, to choose your own fate? And it's such a cool moment. But in front of 17,000 in the Jumbotron, that was a pivotal moment for us. So we're getting into live sports activations and sponsorships. We just took our game show on the road. So we're doing Atlas activations in the field. And so actually going to retailers, we gave away $10,000 in free groceries at 8 retailers, 8 different days across the state of Arizona. Now that was interesting because, the emotion people have, woman, I tell the story all the time because a woman was walking by with her 3 kids. She was kind of that onlooker, like, what's going on? That seems really interesting because this is all live. We're giving away actual prizes real time. And she bought a ticket. She came up, she won $500 in free groceries and had an emotional experience right in front of me. And that's why we do what we do because it matters. It really does matter what we're doing and because it can impact people.
So good. So you started this in 2019. So talking about the entrepreneurial piece of this, COVID happened. I don't know. I think we're probably going to look, if we get to live full lives, like me and you and the millions of other entrepreneurs, we're going to look back on this and be talking about this in 30 years.
Yeah,
And for people that didn't go through it, to be like, what are you talking about? Maybe it was a cold, maybe it was something, but it was a significant shock to every way that our country and world operated.
very much
So,
so.
yeah, so you started your business and just a few short months later, COVID happened. What happened in your mind, how you handled it, and decisions you had to make? What happened during that period? And the reason why I ask it is for you and me and all the other entrepreneurs and our audience, what I know is something else is always going to happen.
No, definitely. Well, I think it's that grit, right? It's that continuing to grind through it. you get hit, you take a hit for a minute, you kind of get knocked down, you then stand back up. For me, I had a runway. I had a plan of where I wanted to go. And luckily, it fit within that. So I could start to get on the other side of it. It took from really March to about July for me to see, okay, well, what's around me? What did I already establish? So did my plan and my sales when I launched the company within those first 6 months, did I actually make traction? And that's what I found out is that I did. And the Texas Lottery came back to us and said, "Hey, we want to do that Hawaii Dream Getaway with you for 6 nights, 1,000 people, private concert with Darius Rucker over the golf course, helicopters, luau's, you name it." And it was like a moment of like, wow, okay, what I actually had in place made sense. My strategy was working. And now let's lean into it and keep going and keep building. And so that's what we've been doing since really late 2020.
So the Texas Lottery worked with you for this trip? There were 1,000 people that at the same time were sent to Hawaii.
Yep. To date was one of our first and our biggest events that we've done. 1,000 people to get to Hawaii logistics. That's what we do. That's what we make it happen. But then on top of it, to do a private concert, build out the entire stage, sound, lighting. We had some great partners that allowed us to do that. The other part is we had some great runway. So the event we signed in 2020, the event wasn't until 2022. So the good part about that is we had enough runway that we could get past some of the residual effects of the pandemic and get people more comfortable with traveling again. And ironically, after the pandemic, experiences became even more and more popular because people wanted to get back out and have those moments that they probably didn't realize were that impactful to them.
Yeah. What'd you learn in those 2 years to try to coordinate in the logistics for 1,000 people? What did you learn? Maybe one or two significant things, maybe not, maybe you knew it, that you're like, oh, wow, we didn't see this.
Well, when we actually got there, move the lines, like lines for me, my team knows I'm like, yeah, no lines. We don't want people waiting. We want them to get out there and experience it. And so when you start queuing up 1,000 people, the queue gets pretty long. So we learned a lot of, you learn a lot along the way. When you're in it, I try to really step back and see what's happening and see how we're creating that experience for people. I actually ask and encourage people to come up to me and tell me their stories, right? And so what I learned was it is impactful. And I don't know what everyone's going through. I don't know what their day to day is. And when you take them out of it, the emotional outpour is pretty impressive and it's impactful to me.
Because it seems like you're really coming into thinking up the
Yes,
experiences, right? You guys are probably now becoming really good at it.
I hope so.
There you go. The growth areas. No one
Yeah,
else knows it, right?
yeah.
Do you think this will stack to become an experience company even outside of lottery?
That's exactly where we are, Mark. That's exactly the pivot. I started with where I knew and the relationships that I had, and in the industry, even as you were saying, is very niche. There's not a lot of people that know about it, understand it. It's a small marketplace. You've only got one lottery per state, and so you're working with a very small ecosystem. And so it's like, okay, where can I take it? We're now just launching what we've done really well with lotteries. And one of our key strategies is multi-state, multi-jurisdiction. So with Luke Combs, we had 19 lotteries from across North America into Canada, where they all participated in one big event, which is magic. It really is. It was lightning in a bottle for us. These 19 lotteries sent 160 winners and their guests to Nashville, and we're taking that group component, pooling more resources where any size company can be part of it. So being part of the Inc. 5000, we're looking at that group because, these are companies that are scaling, right? And they're looking to grow. Well, you need to recruit, retain, and reward employees. The same goes for consumers, right? And so now we're starting, like I talked about the Milwaukee Bucks. That wasn't a lottery promotion. That was with the local casino sponsor. That was with the team directly. So there's other ways of rewarding and having these moments, but it's also differentiator is the winning. When you give somebody a shot, if one of your employees come back and win $1 million, think about that return on the investment for the company saying, look at the story. You know, employee Tommy, whoever it was, won $1 million because we were part of this group, program in Hawaii. We're definitely right now moving into that corporate small business category right now.
Makes sense. What for you guys, as I'm sitting here as a business owner, and entrepreneurs, we tend to want to do things ourselves, right? What what makes you good at it and better to partner with you than people doing it on their own?
Because I have a lot of partners. I mean, I really think we have a lot of shared success when it's producing concerts, getting talent, local resources. In Ireland, if we don't know every country, you can't have a network. There are some great destination management companies. We worked with Custom Ireland, who their CEO is a good friend of mine. They brought their expertise, their knowledge of the local country. They brought their knowledge about where's the best venues, where's the best experiences, and so we really find good partners. Another good partner of ours is the Famous Group out of LA. They're a huge fan activation group company that works with major league sports around the world. But we brought their technology in and made the game show. So we created our Lucky Pick game show, and we've been working together and doing these executions around the world now. And so, really strong partnerships, because I never wanted to bring everything in house and build it myself. I didn't feel that was something that was sustainable. I didn't feel that was something I could get to market in the time I wanted to. And so I looked at that for partnerships.
So it sounds like partnerships, you build a relationship.
Yes.
So what's your strategy for building relationships?
I think it's really that personal connection. If you connect with someone, and I think I'm friends with a lot of these people. I'm friends with a lot of the either the owners or the founders or the CEOs, because we've created this relationship that is mutually beneficial. The more I can do, the more I can contract with you, the better our experiences are, the better our products are, the more we can do collectively. So it is really a success sharing kind of model.
How many hours a week do you work?
Work, I mean, the mind's always going. So I think that's the problem. My team sees me, I come back from these conferences. I'm always thinking. And I really feel that the creative process, you just never know what's going to stick. You just never know what talent or what destination or what unique experience. We have a good partnership with a yacht company called Sea Dream. Call their CEO up, and I experienced their yacht down in the Caribbean, and it was great. And so it's like I'm calling up, and similar to you, what's this lottery, and what are you doing? And once you start to kind of break it down a little bit, it's like, oh, that's interesting, that's different.
Mm. Do you think that's what opens people's ears, that it's interesting and different, that they're like, okay, right? Where if it was just the same thing, it's like, hey, come on, what makes you any different? You'd get that question from the beginning. And it's like, hey,
Exactly.
before we're different, let me tell you about the space we're in and what we're doing.
Yeah, and I think it's taking that space now and bringing it into the corporate world, which is the question I get a lot is, what's the game show? Like, what are you really talking about? It is a fully produced light, sound. I host the game show. I interact with the winners. I get their stories. And then everybody that's there as a winner will play and win some type of cash prize. So there's no better job than me to give away cash prizes to the guests at our events. It's awesome. It's a great way.
It seems like Derek was built to be on stage with a mic in hand.
I hope so. I hope I do it justice at times. But it's a lot of fun. I think what we can do with it. I think there's even more that we can take that game show and those experiences, to other verticals.
So you think you used runway twice earlier. You think there's a long runway in this business and what can be built and where it can go?
I think so. I do think so. I think if we keep being creative, we keep it looking different ways. Just the fact that we're able to productize two new categories for us with the Atlas activations and the live sports that we're doing. We even did a large sweepstakes this year with Wise Snacks, where we had winners every day for 60 days. We're giving away cash prizes. It's that winning moment that we really see as a differentiator. There are a lot of great event companies. There's experiences all over the world, but how you curate them and what we do with them, and the fact that it matters to us, we really want those people to be immersed in it, get out of their day-to-day routine and think about something different.
When you were working in the lottery systems and for the organizations all those years, was there entrepreneurial aspirations inside welling up all the time?
A little bit. Yeah. I think there's one or two concepts that I had over the years where I thought maybe we could go and I could try to start a company. It really came to fruition with me when I was in my MBA program up at International Business School up in Boston. So I did that for 2 years, and I actually, in the middle of it, I kind of used my vision for Atlas, and I used real time feedback from the actual program. So I was getting actual feedback about different marketing strategies, different go to market strategies, different branding strategies, and would use the company as some case studies. So I realized, okay, this is what I like. I want to do more of this, and how can I explore it? I love thinking through the business components. Like, it's not just about just a creative strategy. Does it make sense? Will it sell? What are the barriers in some of those challenges? So I've always kind of had that. Um, the creative piece, when you're in a big company, sometimes you really can't take that too far, because you have to kind of stay cookie cutter into what they're looking to do. And so I saw that as an opportunity as well.
It's awesome to hear somebody articulate going through traditional further education and that actually feeding you. Like that MBA program, what's funny is it wasn't necessarily what you learned in the MBA program. It was how you utilized it. And maybe you could expand on, maybe it was what you learned, but it's like you went in there and took your thing and you learned how to do that thing, not necessarily what each class was about, right?
True. And for me, the classes as well made me think. It made me think from a business perspective. I'm not going to say I'm an expert at any one of the components, but it made me think about the accounting perspective, the finance, the funding components, the strategy of what you need to continue to grow and keep that runway going. I would sit there and think, like, that's to me is what, if for me, if it can challenge me intellectually and, like, well, can I do that? Does that really make sense? Is that something I could do differently? I love to be first. My team knows this all too well. I love to come up with the big strategy that could be something that is different and kind of shakes the industry and go, that seems cool. Or if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Then we pivot and go somewhere else.
That's dangerous. Being first is dangerous.
It is. It is. It's a double-edged sword for sure. We've had good success with it. Just with the Atlas activations and what we did, it was a lot of work. We did 8 days, 8 retailers, $80,000 in prizes. But I was doing 2 game shows a day for almost 4 hours straight. And so that was first, and I took on that hit, and I do have a great team that kind of follows me on some of these. They know what we're looking to do, they get behind it, and they actually empower me to kind of plow through it as well.
Do you have a budget that you have to stay within on each one of these projects?
Yes.
That has to be tough because you're building it. You reverse engineered. You think you know what it is, but there's always contingencies. Do you have a contingency percentage in the agreements with these people or no?
We build it in ourselves. So we look at, our budgeting is, we use a lot of past experience. We leverage those partners we talked about to get really clarity on where we think we need to hit. And there's always a contingency budget. We've had people that were supposed to be on a private jet that we had to pivot immediately because they couldn't get up the stairs, and we had to send them first class to Ireland. Those are pivots and things and we don't even hesitate. It's this is what we need to do, whatever that experience is going to be best for them. And that's what I challenge my team a lot, is just to make sure they're engaging with the people so they can get the feedback. But yeah, the budgeting, they're extensive. You just never know what you don't know, what you're going to have to add into at the last minute. And I guess that goes a lot with a lot of different events.
Yeah. What when you take a big hit, some people say it's not losing, it's learning. It's not failure, it's growth. But whatever that is, when the thing doesn't go the way that you intended it to, and it's a really big moment, could be a big, but when it doesn't go well, those one or two moments that have been your biggest, you don't have to explain them. Sometimes we don't like revealing the skeletons in the dirt of entrepreneurialism. But what'd you do over the past 4 to 5 years? Those one or two, the biggest challenges that at night when you're like, man, we made it through that. We kept going. What'd you do? Because we all face them, and all the people starting these businesses. What did Derek and what did Atlas Experiences do in the one or two most challenging moments you've had?
For the most part, owned it. really owned what we were working through, what the challenge was, whether it was caused by us or it was some unforeseen challenge that we had. There are a couple events that we just, you own it afterwards, but you work it while you're in it. You don't shut down. You don't run away from it. You have to deal with it. When we had a couple of challenges, here and there, as any company does. I remember one specifically. We were at an event and we had some challenges we worked through, and I took the ownership, because my team that's sitting in front of me going, wow, what just happened? That was a challenge. And I said, well, I'm going to take the hit on this. You guys are killing it. You guys are working so hard. I know what I need to do better as a leader. And for me to think of forward, it's that forward thinking, right? What you learned, what you're not going to do again, what you need to do better. And then when we talked to our client, we just owned it. Said this, what can we do to make it better? What can we do to fix it? We didn't see this coming, and let's just kind of let's handle it and take care of it.
Hmm. If you go back into the past in your life, is there one moment, one person, one experience that you give the most credit to? If you had a hierarchy of listing them, like these are the 20 things that I really benefited through in life, is there one that you go to? It's like, man, that was a defining moment. That was a defining person.
No, definitely. I think, there were a couple leaders in my career that, so I don't have an undergraduate degree. So when I actually did the MBA program, I used my experience in the years in my career. I mean, I literally started as a security guard in one of the biggest gaming companies in Rhode Island, and I worked my way through, my career. I kept pushing myself out of my comfort zone, kept doing that. But there were a couple, that said to me very clearly, Derek, you're going to need to get some more education. You're going to need to push yourself back out there at some point. And I did that. I would say at one of the highest levels going into the MBA program. I was self-conscious, like, what didn't I know from these degree programs that other people did years and years ago, right? And what I found out was my experience and my drive was more valuable to me than I probably ever realized.
Hmm. Is that who you were, or was that nurtured somehow throughout life, that drive?
I think that's who I was. I actually, when I was in the military, I was in the Air Force back in the day, and I got to Korea, and I was a law enforcement specialist, and that was you just do your day and day job, and then I found out there were these other jobs you could apply for, and there was a customs agent, and I was like, that sounds interesting. Let me apply for it, and I got it, and it was a new experience and something different. And so what I found out is if you push yourself out there and you try for something that you can actually get more from it. And I think I just kept pushing myself out there. And again, whether it was career advancement, whether it was financial, whatever it was, by me pushing myself out there and not even knowing if it was the right time. Like, am I leaving a position too soon? Is it the right decision? I never looked back. I just, I put myself out there. I went at it, and yeah. And again, you talked about a defining moment. I put myself out there and applied for this, service director job in the company I was working with for slot machines. I had never worked on slot machines. I saw an opportunity. I saw it as a good way for me to advance. And the gentleman, who actually ended up being the youngest GM at that time, and because he unfortunately passed away, but he gave me an opportunity. He saw something in me that said, hey, as a young 28, 29-year old, come on in and I'll give you a chance. I now actually put that forward from what I learned from him and saying, give people a shot. You never know what they're going to be able to do.
So when you take a loss, when you do, how do you respond? What do you do then?
Um, Reflect. I think what did I do? And I think a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but I think there's a tendency to look around you to see who made a mistake or what someone else did, or I think it's more about me, because as the leader and as the where the buck stops with me, I made those decisions, or I supported those decisions, or I didn't inject myself when I probably should have. And so it's being vigilant in that. So I kind of reflect and say, okay, well, what can we do differently? And then there are challenge. People do make mistakes. It's building those
Well,
people up, not knocking them down.
yeah. Yeah, the reflection is the tricky part, is what I've found. Because it's reflection to grow and learn, not reflection for judgment.
Well, and it's also a bit of vulnerability, right? You're kind
Yeah.
of pulling yourself down and saying, okay, well, and do I want to show that, or being hesitant to show that? And you know what? At the end of the day, either A, it's very transparent. You could try to hide it and try to stand behind something, but everybody can see it. So don't shy away from it.
I think that's the mistake that we always make is that I say this often to parents. And I said, hey, remember when you were a kid? We were always watching. And if we were watching as kids when our brains were still developing and who we were and seeing the world, as an adult, we're definitely watching.
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
everyone always is. All right. So, what do you do for? How do you see your company growing? What is it? Is it key employees? Is it more direct investment? Is it building more relationships over your? However, you build your business plan, your trajectory, and your growth. Like, how does this company grow? What do you identify as one or two key areas or points that this is how we're going to do it?
Well, right now we're scaling. So we're hiring some more key employees. We're building out our team. We're trying to see what we need to be more successful and continue. Our pipeline right now is really, solid. That's a good place to be. And I'm making sure my team, there's no strain that starts to, there's not too many hats being worn by any one person, right? So we're definitely scaling from an employee piece and investing in that. Also looking at, how can we take these other verticals that are around us that we can start to maximize, like the corporates, like the relationships in the Inc. 5000 group, that we can bring our concepts to life, right? And how can we create some more millionaires and create more brand loyalty? And so I see that as a great, huge opportunity for us. We're just starting to scratch the surface, and that's a huge industry. Lottery, I see as international. There's obviously other verticals than your traditional lottery. You've got sports betting, you've got a lot of iGaming in the European markets. At the end of the day, there's opportunity to weave into these types of strategies, experiential prizes, winning moments. And the thing is, and I described this market recently, I can give you $10,000. You can pay a bill with it. It's very transactional. You won't have any memory of it. You probably won't tell anyone about it. You're not going to share that what bills you paid. But if I take you on a trip and you win $50,000, you're going to tell everybody about it because it's an experience. It's a moment that's impactful. And we want to just keep bringing that to more lotteries. There'll be more, we've done our Living Lucky with Luke Combs event. We've done our Lady Luck with Martina McBride. There's more on the horizon with talent there. And I'm also looking at other, sports and other celebrities. If I had my wish and my big dream, I'd love to have our game show on TV and so on some type of channel, on some type of network that will be doing more and more winning moments. That's what I wish.
That's awesome. How does the average person in the public, do we just benefit from what you're building and your relationships with companies and lottery companies? Because there's no direct engagement that you have with an average individual consumer, is there right now?
For the
To
most part,
funnel.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, for the most part, no. I think, lotteries will continue to look at, different, opportunities, with other companies as well. I mean, I think any company that's offering experiences where people can really impact their lives, I'm all for it, to be honest with you. And it challenges me to be more creative and get out there more to find more unique ways of doing it. But I think, yeah, I think the more we can do, the more we can continue to try to innovate that space if we can. I think that's what we're trying to do as well.
I think the timing for your business, as I think about, I receive emails and apps. There's these experiences worldwide. I mean, they're very expensive. You're talking about high net worth people if they individually engage with them. But you see these 100-day cruises and go through Ritz Carlton or something, and you get on their private plane and you go to their place, and it's $75,000. That's not the average human these days, but there is a big segment of this upper earned income folks that they are paying for these experiences. I'm sure. So, right. So it's like, man, your business, whether you directly engage with the person or not, there is a massive market for this type of thing, even if it's not through lottery, through even paying for it.
There is, and again, that's a unique category, right? Because those are like high end, millionaire, experiences or services, if you will. I want to take those services and bring it to the majority of people because they're the ones that can't do that or aspire to do that. And that's where the gold is, right? I'm not looking to necessarily work with the millionaires and get them the helicopter. I want to get that experience on the rich yacht, bring that over to lottery and or to the majority of the consumers where lotteries are creating dreams. It's your dream, and I think that's the thing is, we've talked a lot about a lot of, to be honest with you, live like a millionaire, you know. So we've actually got an event next year in Necker Island, Richard Branson's island in the Caribbean. We're buying it out. We're going to create a millionaire on Richard Branson's island. So those are the things that are unique. That's a unique component.
For how many days are you buying it out? A couple of days?
5 days, 5 nights.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
you
again,
can share that. That's public. How much? Because you can go, anybody can do it. What's it cost just to rent the island for 5 days?
I'm not sure off the top of my head, to be honest with you, but
you can go to their website. You can actually see it. You can book nights. You can book. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah. Very expensive. Very expensive.
Yeah.
But again, the Texas Lottery just did a promotion with that. We're taking 20 winners and their guests down there, and that's a once in a lifetime experience. And that was me watching, I believe it was Richard Branson's documentary, and they were showing the island, and I was like, I wonder if we can actually buy that out. It was a thought. But then I took the thought and I moved it forward, and I found the right contacts, and the group at Virgin Limited have been great to work with, and I think that's a great opportunity.
So next time I'm in Texas, buy a lottery ticket.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do those lotteries market these experiences? I'm assuming they do. Yeah,
they do. Yeah, and we provide a lot of content for them as well in the front end, so that there's these mini social posts that kind of get you excited about. I think it was X marks the spot for the private island getaway. Talk about creating a millionaire. Private jets, we do quite a bit. And then on the back end, as you saw some of our testimonials and our videos on our YouTube channel, we share all of that. So that's where the gold is, right? Because you get to see people actually experiencing and having those moments, and we hear it all the time. I may have never bought this trip for me. I would never have been able to do this. Just the trip is amazing, and I get to win cash at the end. That's phenomenal.
So the moral to the story for all of us listening today, no matter how much money we've made, how successful we've been, find a way to buy an island, develop it, and then call Derek and have him rent your island for a full week every year.
That's it. And they'll give away $1 million on it, right? There you go.
We fixed all the problems.
All the problems. You just get an island, give us a call, and we're going to create the private island getaway. And then, that's all it's about.
All right, Derek Gwaltney with Atlas Experiences. Hey, thanks for sharing this to us. I like to hear the experiences and what you're building, and really where the purpose comes from on helping people live these millionaire lifestyles that the average person doesn't get an opportunity to touch on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, man.